Hey dudes and chicks and neither of those will stone party. Welcome to Rick for Last Time. My name is Katie. Today, I am going to be using the Light in Your Eyes palette. I was late in the game. I didn't really want to get it because of the color story, and then I rethought it, and so I got it on the restock. And also, I want to talk about the drama that is ensuing around Ensley Rain, and really the reason why I want to talk about it is because I want to hear your guys' thoughts on what we as a collective should do. What's the action that we need to take moving forward? How should we deal with this? What is everybody feeling about it? I really want to know. And so more importantly than the palette, I'm using the palette. I'm really just using it as a platform to like speak about what's going on. What do you guys know? How are you guys? What space are you in with it? So I really want this to be a safe place, and I also want to give like a trigger warning. There might be some things said in this video that are triggering, and whenever I'm triggered, I just use that as an opportunity to like realize that it's something I need to take a look at. That's what I always say. Yeah, it might be a little intense, but I feel like it's not. I feel like it's fine. I feel like, you know, the things I talked about are fine. I'm gonna, you know, go through and make sure that everything's respectful and not hurtful, but I'm pretty sure it's not. But I really want to hear what your guys' thoughts and feelings are. So if you guys are interested in seeing how I got this look, or hearing my final thoughts on this palette, or hearing my thoughts on what's going on with Ensley Rain right now, or if you just like to watch, then hang out. So first and foremost, I want to say that I'm primed with my P. Louis primer in numero 2. And secondly, I just want to say I'm feeling really uninspired by this color story. You guys know this isn't my color story at all. It's like, it could be partially my color story. I'm like trying to think of some way to use it creatively, and there's really just not any room for that. You know, I feel like when there's a palette that has warm tones and cool tones in the palette together, I like them to be arranged in kind of a odd way. Because when it's like arranged like so cut and dried like this, it makes me feel stifled. So there, I'm not feeling very inspired by this palette. I'm actually waiting for the Realm of Fairies to get delivered, and it just wasn't coming. So I got this cute sweatsuit for Christmas that's baby blue. And so I'm just literally like chomping at the bit. So I don't want to talk down on the palette. I actually wasn't going to get this palette, and I kind of thought that it didn't look quite as neutral. And also I can't tell if the reason why I'm uninspired by this palette is actually because of the color story, which I wasn't inspired by the color story when I saw the thing or whatever. And it's kind of been making me a little sad because I feel like most of Ensley Rain's newer launches aren't making me excited at all. Or if I'm feeling uninspired because of all the drama surrounding the brand right now, is just kind of taking the piss out of it. Like, thinking about it is more tiring than inspiring. So, and I actually have looked at it. Okay, here's what happened. I got off work early and I was excited to come home and film. And I looked at this palette and I sat here for about 15-20 minutes, and then I thought, I'm tired. I better take a nap. Because I thought that it might just be my attitude. And now that I'm looking at it again, it's not my attitude. I'd like to do something weird with it, but I just feel like there's nowhere for me to really go. There's just nothing that I can do weird. When I look at brown, so like if you use brown as a deepening shade in the outer V over another color, or like blending it into another color, it does something really cool. But if you use brown as an actual color, it just looks like mud to me, because that's what happens to colors when they get muddy. They neutralize each other, they blend together, they get muddy, and they turn brown. So when I see brown, it looks like muddiness, but there isn't a ton of brown in this palette, which is what actually changed my mind. So fuck it. I'm definitely going to start with this purple in the middle. So it's kind of designed so that you can use this purple and go like either direction with it. So I'm gonna do that. Okay, how many of you actually hate it that these are called hooded? Am I the only one? Like, why is it called hooded? Why can't it be called something else? Like, why does it have to be like phallic? Why does it have to be like a reference to my vagina? So I'm just keeping it in the outer corner here, outer V. When most people just like to stay in the outer corner, they can like just keep it right here and it's like totally good. But like when you have hooded eyes, it's actually a big, it's not like a tiny little touch of a color. You have to get it like up above that. So it's like actually quite a bit. Okay, so I'm sure most of you know, you guys are the ones who told me about everything that was going on with Ensley Rain, and I actually want to know your thoughts. But obviously I'm like creating a video here, so I'm going to talk about some of my thoughts. Apparently, the owner of Ensley Rain has been liking and following from the Ensley Rain page, liking and following a page called Gays Against Grooming, or Gays Against Groomers, something like that, I think. Yeah, I mean, I think it's groomers. And she liked some posts that were pretty offensive to the LGBTQIA plus community, and or at least some of its members. And so basically, this chick, Lauren Blends, posted in her stories, which it's obviously, maybe it's in her highlights, but it's probably gone now, about how someone, like, kind of, maybe her, I'm not sure who, did some investigating and like found that the Ensley Rain page was liking these basically transphobic posts, and they were like hateful. And I tend to like to use words like hateful with caution, just because, well, I think people are pretty fucking sensitive these days. And so like I have really thick skin, and so slights against me are, you have to really, I don't know. So anyways, it's not my experience, and so I can't really speak to like what that is. Like what is hurtful, what is hateful, what hurts people, what causes them pain. You know, it's not my experience, so I can't speak to that. And what I will say is that, so a lot of people got on board with it. They found out that she was liking these posts from the Ensley Rain page, which I think is dumb as fuck. And just not a smart move. I don't know. I followed this guy on Instagram, which I actually went and unfollowed him because, like, here's my thing. Like, I don't do anything without careful consideration. And sometimes it's careful consideration to how it's going to make people feel. But sometimes it's really just like covering my ass, right? Because like if I think a post is funny and I like it and somebody sees it, then I'm going to get called a, you know, whatever. And so I am clearly, I would say I'm an ally. You know what I mean? I've always, like, I just really support the LGBTQIA movement, and I've always really, like, got along well with LGBTQIA people in the past, even when, like, it was probably much harder for that population of people to get along. You know, that wasn't really a thing for me. So she liked the pages, or she liked some posts, and someone found it and then, you know, made it public. And I guess, you know, I was just hanging out with somebody recently who taught me about how Reddit is basically where, you know, people go to like slam brands and, you know, do all this trash talking. It's actually really a powerful place where people can actually like be destroyed on Reddit. And like, who knew, right? Because I just go to Reddit, like every once in a while I'll Google like what's the best car phone mount, right? And then like people will be on Reddit, or I'll be like, hey, is Style Korean a legit brand? And it'll take me to a Reddit thread where people are like, oh yeah, it's totally inexpensive and they delivered really quickly and blah 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 blah. So like I just know that when I Google search something, like a product based search, to get like recommendations, I get sent to Reddit. But it's also this place where people kind of, you know, carry on about other people behind their back, basically. Like, you know, brands are people, right? There's a person. I guess there was like a bunch of Reddits, and there's been a bunch of Reddits about Ensley Rain. In my opinion, there are a few people in the beauty community on Instagram and on YouTube that they're really always part of. It seems like they're really quick to jump on bandwagons, and they're really quick to fucking scream fire. And so I don't really listen to people like that. They don't have a lot of credibility with me. People yelling and screaming and being crazy. If somebody, I'm a Virgo, and so if somebody is being like overly emotional about something, that they literally lose credibility with me. Because like, and I've kind of always been like that, where like, you know, I was in the drug world, and there would always be people like losing their stability, right? And like the minute I see somebody losing their mental faculties because of their emotions, because they're emotionally charged, they immediately lose credibility with me, because people who are acting from emotion aren't being, they're just not, that's just not where I like to get my information. Now, I'm not saying that their emotions aren't valid, and I'm not saying that emotion isn't an important part, or that anger and righteous anger isn't an important part of like making decisions. But when I see somebody being overly emotional, there's something in the back of my mind that just tells me like, I need to go find a information source that's a little bit more neutral, a little bit more calm, composed. I really appreciate composure, you know what I mean? And so I went and kind of just followed all the facts. It was actually one of you guys that told me everything that was going on. And honestly, like, sucks. So I followed I pulled the threads and like followed all the things, and like went and checked out some of the information. Some of it was really off-putting, like people just actually yelling. And like, if you're yelling, I can't even hear that. I cannot hear yelling. I'm going to tell you right now, when it comes to changing stereotypes in the minds of people who have been programmed socially, for one, but also like, we have these like things, like we file away all this information based on this one thought that we never even knew we had. And then we spend our entire lives filing that information away to back up. It's called, it's basically research bias is what it is. It's when we think something, and then every finding we get backs that up. But because of this idea that we create schemas, and then we like reinforce them throughout a lifetime, some of those lifetimes being like 40 years, 35 years, 25 years seems a little more malleable, but like 45, yelling at somebody is not going to affect the change that you may or may not be looking for. So like, I kind of have this belief that if you're looking to affect change, then you're gonna calm the fuck down, right? And you're gonna listen, because people are a lot more likely to take in information, new information, and basically change paradigms. You're never gonna change paradigms by yelling at somebody. So like, period. That's like, you're never gonna change people by like screaming at them and treating them like they're pieces of shit. So like, it's just not gonna work, right? So then like in somebody's mind who already has a schema created where they have this like whole viewpoint on a certain type of people, and then like somebody comes and like starts screaming at them, then they file that away in their schema that says, oh, see, that kind of person does this. That's how they always are. Totally irrational, la 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 la. And so, okay, so I followed the facts and was basically like, realized like, I have a schema about, I hate to even say this, I have a schema about women and how they are rash. Women get emotionally charged, and then they make a decision, and this is also from being on the street, like in that world, they get emotional and then they make a decision before they've taken 2 or 3 days to like think about if that's what they really want to do. And then they like blast it on the global wide web, and then like start rallying the troops, and then it gains momentum. So like, that isn't what I wanted to be my, you know, I don't want that to be what influences my decisions. I want information to be what influences my decisions, not that other thing. So it isn't just women. You know, I was thinking about it as I was like thinking about this, looking at this color story, completely fucked, baffled at what I'm going to do. I think everything I want to do right now is just going to ruin it, but fuck it. I'm going to go into Soul Sisters because it's really the only thing I can do besides that pink or gray, which is a dead end. If I go into the pink or the gray, it's a dead end. So I don't like dead ends. I like to be able to go on and on. Like if I like to do my colors in such a way that if I wanted to go all the way to my hairline, I could, right? So that's kind of the way I like to do my makeup. So that's what I'm just gonna move forward with that. Yeah. I'm gonna use this Blend Bunny brush right here. And I'm gonna go into Soul Sisters and I'm just gonna fucking try to keep this really tight along. I'm just gonna go 50% on and 50% off. And the only reason why I'm putting this here is because I want to try to put that green. I want to blend that like brownie weird green. Because honestly, I feel like if I can do that, then I have some wiggle room. But if I don't, then I'm just going into a gray. So anyway, it's not true. Like men in my like past life have been equally quick to be emotionally charged and irrational. So that's like not even true. That's like a piece of information that it's not true. It's not real. It's like something that I conjured up. So anyways, we do that a lot. So, okay, so here's the deal. So like the usual players, the usual suspects were, you know, spouting off across the internet. And so they're not, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, so, but then I went and like checked out the actual kind of source, not the source of the research, but the source of like what kind of started all this. And it's Instagrammer named Xander Bear. It's spelled with an X. He said he was very calm and like, he wasn't like completely without emotion, but he was like super calm, right? And he was like, you know, what are we doing? We kind of have overlooked the AI thing and like why we need an explanation, like why. And so he said things that are like kind of expected, but what then he said was what really like turned the table for me was he said, I'm a boy in makeup. These are my people. This is my community. And when he said that, it just felt really authentic. You know, I was actually thinking today, so like here on YouTube, we love boys in makeup, right? Don't we? I mean, I do. And so here on YouTube, they just get all the love, right? Like we love them. And then like, what's that like for them to go out into the world? I don't know. I don't know what it's like for them. I guess it would depend on where they live. And so today I actually looked at his page and I think I might have followed him because I actually don't follow or subscribe to any of the people that are involved in this, by the way. I just went through and like looked and I just followed the clues that I was left and I went and looked at everything that I could find. And I'm not subscribed or following any of the people that are involved in this. I don't even follow, like one of the people is actually pretty popular on YouTube. Or on Instagram. Actually, I did a collab giveaway with Notoriously Morbid with this person and I'm not subscribed to her or following her. I just don't find her content that interesting. I'm not really that into swatches. Like, generally that's not like, I don't really care about those. I've been trying to do them better, but like, I don't really care. Like when I see that kind of content in my feed, I don't care about that. I use the makeup. I don't need to look at people's swatches. You know what I mean? I'm actually like doing this shit. I went and listened to that person's and it was really like Xander's, when he said that. So today I woke up thinking like, what is that like for him? His story was very heartfelt. I went way overboard with this brown and now what the fuck am I gonna do? I'll tell you. I'm gonna do something. It's gonna be okay. I'm not gonna like it. I'm just not gonna like it. I just know it. Maybe I'm gonna pull it through here. Maybe it's gonna pull through. I'm gonna use my Zoeva 227. I'm gonna go into, It's probably going to be too dark, but I'm going to go into Feet on the Ground. Oh, that is going to be too dark. It's a mid-tone. Well, let's see. Let me just go light. I'll just go light with it. I felt like the only way for me to go from this purple to anything else besides pink or gray was to do brown. And now here I am, totally screwed. Okay, so I'm just going to go to like right there. And then I'm going to take just a tiny brush. What brush? Oh, this brush right here. And I'm going to go into Naive Melody. And I guess I'm just going to get that right there. Okay, that'll do. That'll do. So he said all those things, and he basically was like, this is my community. I care about my community. Why would you support such hateful speech against transgenders when we're spending money on your makeup? You know, you can like use us basically to sell your products, but you don't really respect us in real life. And so I've been thinking a lot about, since this all happened, because you know, whenever something like this happens, here's what makes the difference I think. I was going to say separate the men from the boys, but I thought that would be inappropriate. When something like this happens, I feel inclined to check my biases. Because microaggression is really, you know, systemic discrimination is very sneaky, right? It's so sneaky. Yeah, I don't really like this. I knew I wasn't going to. I'm not sure why I had to feel compelled to do what I'm doing, but. So, you know, the reason why a microaggression is what it is because it's so subtle and it's so like deeply ingrained in the fiber of our thinking that we don't even know we're doing it. And so then people are like, you need to check your privilege. And then they're like, I don't have this and I don't do that. And I'm not a racist. And I got a best friend who's black. And like all these crazy things, right? That isn't them. That's their programming, right? That's their programming. And so the real solution isn't to attack the person. It's attack the fucking programming. And it's the exact same way with addiction. Like we have this like thing where we say like, you know, trying to tell the difference between the disease and the person. Because the disease of addiction acts very much similarly, right? All of our programming does. It acts similarly. That is not the person. That is the programming. And so when something like this goes down, I'm very careful to check my own biases, because here's where I go is like, I don't think it's bad for people to be against child grooming. To like, it's this idea that like grooming kids to be gay. And as I'm like sifting through that, like, what is that? What is that going on inside of me? And then I can see like people in the LGBTQIA community aren't grooming people to be gay when they're not. They're creating a safe space for people to be gay when they are. So when I think about, you know, all of this, it's just like all these, it's this opportunity that I get to take to look at check my own biases and make sure that like I'm square with the way that I believe I should be, right? And so everybody can be how they want to be. Like, I don't really care how everybody else is. I just don't. Because you want to know what? I'm fucking busy looking at my own shit, right? I'm not screaming at people to look at themselves, because here's two things. And I'm going to kind of just throw this out there. The two things that I know for a fact, like, no doubt about it, is that, for one, I can't fucking change you. I can't change you. As long as you're the problem, there's nothing I can do about it. As long as I'm the problem, then I can do something about it. But when somebody else is the problem, there isn't anything I can do about it. It's just not, I'm powerless over other people, places, and things. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. So people have an illusion of control where they think that if they do these things that they're going to like control another person. And control is an illusion that we feed ourselves to make ourselves feel comfortable with uncertain outcomes. And so I'm just going to give you a really good example of this. You know, Jeffree Star, he was an asshole. And so the indie beauty makeup community like canceled him. And we thought, you know, if we're going to cancel him, then, and I heard somebody say this, if you quit buying makeup from Ensley Rain, then they will fucking change. Did Jeffree Star change? Did canceling him change anything? He has millions of subscribers, millions of followers, millions of customers, millions. He hurts for nothing. He doesn't even know we exist. Literally doesn't give two shits. Doesn't even fucking care. We mean nothing to him. Our voice means nothing. And you want to know why it means nothing? Because we treated him like an asshole instead of a person with a problem. Treating somebody like an asshole is never going to change the problem. Now, so like when we talk about like tolerance and diversity and inclusivity, the movement is about like stopping the hate, right? Stop hate. Stop hurting people, stop hate. You're never going to stop hate with hate, period. That's never gonna work. It's never gonna happen. You're never gonna stop hate with hate. What's really gonna change things? Conversations. That's what's gonna change things. Asking hard questions. Being the person to walk up and be like, what the fuck were you thinking when you did that? In loving kindness. Like, oh, honey, what were you thinking? Right? And so like, I just see a lot of people really afraid. I see people afraid, and when people are afraid, they do dangerous things. So, having said all that, I really don't know exactly what I think about it. I'm going to move on from that topic to like a couple of other things, because I totally just look like I have a black eye, which I don't mind sometimes, but I've done my Beetlejuice looks for the year. Now, granted, I could have done something else. I didn't have to do this look. I'm gonna kind of just go in hard with that. I just felt like if I went in with the pink or the gray, it would have just been a neutral look. And that, you know, there just really isn't anything I can do to like make this better. Shit. So I am going to move on to talk about how I don't think, you know, I don't really come from a place of feeling like any sense of loyalty to Ensley Rain. I feel like I've been promoting the brand for quite a while now, and I don't know, I just, the truth of it is, like, at first, when this all first went down, I kind of thought, well, she should have been sending me PR. You know what I mean? Because I probably was like one of the only fucking people that wouldn't like turn on her on a dime. You know what I mean? She's been like really focusing all of her PR attention on people who would turn on you. You know what I mean? I feel like there's, what do you think you think you don't need some real motherfuckers out there for in case some shit like this happens, especially if you're fucking like running around liking things. I fucking actually followed this person on Instagram, and he's like super offensive, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I have not liked one single fucking post of this person's, and I like his posts a lot, but he's like so offensive, and that's not, I follow him because of his artwork. But the fact that he's offensive is actually part of the reason why I like him. But it's not because of the things he posts. Like, I don't agree with any of the things he posts. I actually get offended myself, and I like it. I like it when there's people out there just like saying whatever the fuck they want and like offending people and like ruffling feathers and like just being unafraid. I really value someone who's unafraid, someone who just kicks the hornet's nest all the time and like doesn't give a fuck. I really value that in a person, because you want to know what? When it all comes down to it, you might not like that person, but at least you know where you fucking stand with that person. You know what I mean? Like, which is not the case with everybody else. And so if like somebody thinks that like you just want to go after like all the fucking popular fucking people and the cool kids, it's just like Mean Girls. They're just gonna turn on you. Like, I feel like popular kids have always been the same. They always will be the same, like, period. But then I thought, you know what? It's not even like that. It's just like didn't seem like a feasible business decision for her, so she just never even considered sending me PR. And so, but it also made it so that, you know, I'm not really, I have like a sort of a friendship with her, but not one of like business value to me. I just feel like I just don't owe Ensley Rain any loyalty, so I can be free like right here to like say whatever because like, you know, my value of loyalty isn't like... So basically what my point of saying that is that I've been actually pretty disappointed by all the launches lately. And then now there is a launch, which there's so much controversy. I have been like taking a minute to actually like think about like, how do I want to move forward with this? And not really like, do I need to be careful to save my own skin? But really thinking like, am I okay with the fact that she was following this page and liking posts from the Ensley Rain page? I'm not thinking like, oh, I don't want to use those products because it's controversial and everything's blowing up, because I don't care about that. What I care about is, do I actually, you know, do I think that it's okay? Do I think she deserves redemption? Absolutely. Do I think she was actually intentionally being transphobic? Fuck no, I don't. Do I think that I wanted to take the time to consider whether or not I actually feel like, you know, is that something that I needed to look at? Not, am I going to cancel the brand? I'm done with that shit. I don't fucking cancel brands. I look at people and I see like, how do they need to improve? Probably the same fucking ways I need to fucking improve. So, okay. So having said that, she just came out with a new launch. And it's the Moons, and it launched today, the day after Christmas. What the fuck? Over. I mean, that's kind of bullshit. I can't afford it. I want it. I can't afford it. That pisses me off. That actually pisses me off that she launched a launch the day after Christmas. I won't be getting it unless it's still available, which, well, it might be available, but it won't be relevant by the time I can get it, so... That's irritating. I was kind of on my way to like having all the Ensley Rain palettes, and then all this shit happened. So what I really want to know, so the real question is, here's the question I want to ask. What do you guys think? What do you guys think I should do? What's your opinion on what's going on? What's your opinion on, you know, this situation in its entirety? What do you guys think is the right move? Do you guys still want to support Ensley Rain? Do you know what I mean? Like, these are the questions that I want to know from you guys, because ultimately it's really about you guys, you know. Now, if this was going on with one of my other brands that have been so good to me and done so many things for me, I'd be going to battle. You know what I mean? I'd be going to battle and I'd be posting and I'd be like, without question, you know what I mean? Because they're important to me. You know what I mean? You guys know who those brands are. They've really gone to battle for me. You know what I mean? They've really supported me when I wasn't a sure bet. They have really done a lot of good for me when, you know, I'm like small and I cuss all the time and I make dick jokes and, you know, do all this inappropriate shit. And like, I talk about all these topics that everybody else is trying to avoid, and they still have supported me. So I don't have that same relationship with Ensley Rain. I hate this look. I feel like it looks very similar to a lot of things that I've done lately. I'm going to go into Naive Melody, and I'm going to use that in my inner corner because I actually don't know what else to do. Basically, I'm just like super annoyed that there's a launch, and it's the first launch that I've actually really liked. I'm a little bit, I mean, I'm not annoyed that I got this one, but I wish that I would have known that she was going to release something right after Christmas, the day after Christmas, so that I wouldn't have spent money on this. You know what I mean? I could have stood to get this later. You know, another thing that was mentioned is like how Ensley Rain's formula, their shimmer formula, and like how, you know, if you look at the shimmer formula, you can't really tell the difference between the shimmers of Ensley Rain and the shimmers of other brands. Now, I can agree with that. Like, I think Ensley Rain has amazing shimmers. I think there are a lot of brands with amazing shimmers. And honestly, I feel like you know, if you wanted to go out of your way to get other brands that have amazing shimmers, then fucking do it. It just so happens that Ensley Rain is the brand that I have felt like spoke to me more in terms of like aesthetics and, well, aesthetics, like the palettes, the meanings, the themes, like all of that has spoken to me more than other brands. I don't think that it's Ensley Rain's shimmers that make them outstanding. It's their fucking mattes. And I think it's easy for somebody who is 20 or in their 20s to talk about how other brands have like these same amazing formulas and yada, 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 because I'm sure there are a lot of brands that have amazing formulas, but for me, with my skin and the age that I'm at, every brand doesn't have amazing fucking matte formulas that look good on me, that blend well on me, like silk. Every brand doesn't have that. And so they do have something special. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, you know, Ensley Rain doesn't have something like above and beyond. You know, when people were saying that about Jeffree Star, I could get on board with it. Jeffree Star I think he had a really good formula. I think it was good. Was it the best? No. But like, it was good enough for, you know, me to like want to spend $58 on a palette every time it launched, even though but because of the themes. You know, I won't just buy something because of the theme of the palette, you know what I mean? It has to be good. So it was good enough for me to want to pay top dollar to get those themes in my life, right? So I look like Beetlejuice again, and I think that people severely overlook the quality of the Ensley Rain mattes. I think I'm going to use Head in the Sky, which is shifter to green, Prismatic Glow, which is like a purple to green, I think, maybe purple to pink. I'm not sure. I mean, you know, it's hard saying with Ensley Rain. They do have really good, you know, good shit. They got the good shit. And so, you know, now this new launch, like I really fucking want it, and I absolutely can't get it. Absolutely cannot. There's no fucking way. And I won't be able to even consider getting it until like the 6th of December or the 6th of January. So that is irritating to me, and I'm feeling a little bit entitled about it because I feel like I may be the only person on the platform that is actually going to use it. Please, this is a safe space for everyone, and so keep your comments like respectful and kind. I want to hear your opinions. Also, this is open to anybody, any political beliefs. You know, it's funny, I was driving in my car, you know, things like this really start making you think, like, what's the real problem? I don't believe that the problem is on the left or the right. It's not a war between the left and the right. It's not a war between the Republicans and the Democrats. It's not a war between LGBTQIA and straight people, or a war between white people and people of color, or a war between elite white male power structure and women. It's actually like a war against ourselves. Like the battle between good and evil is like a war with ourselves. And so as long as we're saying like, what are you gonna change? What are you gonna do? And we're doing this and we're pointing the finger at other people, nothing's gonna change because everybody's fucking doing that. For example, like one time I said to my kid, you know, it doesn't really matter what they do. It matters what you do. And she said, you know, well, I'm not going to do that because they're not doing it. And I'm not going to sit here and do this when they're not going to do it. And I'm like, okay, if that's what you choose to do, you know what I mean? Because I don't really tell her what to do. But it's like, I feel like we all, like everybody's doing that. They're going like, I'm not going to do it if you're not going to do it. I'm not fucking going to do that if you're not going to do it. And so really like this battle, between good and evil is really a battle between us and ourselves. And it's never going to be won by us pointing the finger because the battle is truly within ourselves. And the battle would be truly more won if we can all like point the finger at ourselves and finally start to see like how we're more alike than we ever are different. That is the true battle of good versus evil, is like us seeing that we're all connected and we're all the same. And we all want the same things, they just look different. I've been having all these really deep like thoughts, right? Because this is like a deep, you know, motherfuckers, I can think of this one person right now that always says, you know, it's makeup, it's not that deep. Are you sure? Because shit seems to be getting pretty fucking heavy sometimes, dude, around this fucking motherfucker. People be yelling and freaking out, yelling at everyone. This one person didn't even show her face on her story. She just had it like pointed at the ceiling and was like yelling, like actually raising her voice. Like, I'm not into that. I mean, what do you guys think? Like when I say something to you guys, do you like think it like hits home a little more if I'm like making eye contact and like actually like speaking to you as a person? And so the other thing about that is I feel like, you know, I was having a conversation with my friend And we were talking about how, ooh, you know, it never fails. We were talking about how, like, you know, the thing about it is like, you know, when we like go to like rescue somebody because we think they need our help, they don't fucking need our help. Seriously, they don't. They don't fucking need our help. They are helping themselves. And like, if we want to get to be a part of it, we can, but they don't need our help. Whoever them is, like, right? Whatever, whoever that group is, right? And so really, if you're just like yelling at people, like really what you're actually doing is you're just feeding your own ego. You're just like acting like you're like a part of something and you're being the hero that saved the day. There's actually this thing that we did. It's called, I had to read this pamphlet in treatment. It's called Queen Baby. And it's like this thing where we have this certain desire to be needed in these different ways. And so we like portray these roles in our lives so that people like need us. It's like, but it's more disordered. It's not like a servant heart. It's more like driving your own ego by like showing up as Captain Save-A-Ho, as they say, or like the hero that saved the day, or like the victim that got totally shit on while everybody else was like, you know, you like made all these sacrifices, the martyr, the mother, that, you know what I mean? And we play these different roles, and like we really do that to feed our own egos. And so like really like with no ego, I'm just like asking you guys, like, what do you think about, you know, the brand Ensley Rain? What do you think about this controversy? Are you a person with lived experience? I'd love to hear what you have to say. Are you a person who actually is like, you know, like kind of believes on the right side of like political beliefs? And, you know, because to tell you the truth, dude, I'm not about that fucking hate shit. I'm not about it. But I'm also not about like a witch hunt over somebody's fucking political beliefs. That's like, if we don't learn how to fucking fight the battle between us and ourselves, point the finger at ourselves and see where we're all connected and we're all alike, we're fucked. And honestly, we're fucked anyways. I'm just sitting here doing makeup on YouTube because I can't just stop living my life. But I'm pretty sure that if we don't fucking do something to like be accountable and hold ourselves accountable in a different kind of way, and see how we can relate to each other in a different kind of way, we're fucked. We lose. Because all of that is all ego. It's not real. That's not who we really are. Because who we all really are is a human being who makes mistakes and is worthy of love. That's all we are. That's all of us, everyone, even Trump. Even that evil bastard Trump. There's like, maybe there's like demons or like fucking evil, like strategically placed in the world, or like, you know, they've made a choice and they've chose a side. But like, I believe that most people are actually like just people, and they're just like fighting for their lives. So that's all, that's everything. I don't really care for any of these colors. I mean, that was the nice little fucking rush there, but I don't really, it's not that good. I just don't really, it's the colors. Let me see if this one kind of lights me up. That really reminds me a lot of Radiant, only it's more pink, and it's actually called Radiant Soul, so it probably is. It's a little greener than the one that I love that's in the Strawberry Moon palette. Let's see, MJ. Pretty, oh, well, it's got like this, it's a teal with like a gold shift. Let me see. Yeah, I feel like all of these are pretty straightforward. This color Lucid Shine, that's what I'm going to use right now. I'm probably going to put that, I'm going to put that MJ on the lower lash line and then do the inner corner and call it fucking good. These Blend Bunny brushes are super good. I'm going to go into MJ. What's this? Yeah, that's pretty brown. Here, let's try it again. Yeah, I think this palette's just not for me. It is for a lot of people. You know, Angelica Nyquist said, like, I think this palette, if any palette's going to sell out, oops, wrong one. It's going to be this one. And I think it did sell out, but it seemed like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure why it sold out. Like, I know some people thought it looked kind of boring on my channel, but we're kind of a different, we're not that kind of makeup lover. And then I'm going to go into Lucid Shine because, for obvious reasons, this is kind of a duo. It's like two different colors put together. Oh, wait. Okay, hold on. Ooh, that's super pink. That doesn't really match. Shit. So I guess a bunch of people said they were dropping their discount code with Ensley Rain and they were not gonna like promote her shit anymore. Or Ensley Rain's, not hers. Like it's obviously not a person, it's an entity. But so I felt like that seemed rash, but what do I know? Maybe it wasn't rash. Maybe everything they're saying is true. Like I said, microaggression is sneaky, and so like what everybody wants her to do is well, from what I'm gathering, they want her to post on her page. Like she posted something in her stories and they were like, no, this isn't good enough. It's not good enough to post it in your stories. You need to post it on your page. And like that still hasn't happened. Now, do I think it would be beneficial to her to post it on her page? Absolutely. Do I think she needed to do it on Christmas? No, I don't. You know, so, but what do I know? You know what I mean? Would it make any difference? Maybe she's going to come up and say, you know, I don't have no shame in my game about the post that I liked, you know. And because I honestly have been half wondering if like, I feel like I've been watching the brand kind of change to everybody's desires and like do all these things. Oh, you know what the other thing I was going to talk about is the AI art. So I actually went and watched a TED Talk, which I know isn't like the end all be all of like information gathering, but at least it's fucking something, because it's like everybody says all these things about AI and like how it's hurting the environment, but nobody really has an explanation. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, well, it just because of the CO2, or like they say these things that nobody can really actually explain it to me. So I went and watched a TED Talk and asked like, how is AI art bad for the environment? And I watched a TED Talk and it talked about generators, AI generators, like the engines that drive these language AI machines, how they produce more CO2 than 5 homes, one engine. And so that's the reason why creating AI art is bad for the environment. It's because the AI engines that drive AI creation produce so much CO2. And those same AI generators that are generating AI art are generating in your iPhones. AI is being used in, if you use ChatGPT, if you use the AI search on Instagram, if you're using AI search on your phone, the first thing that pops up every time you Google search anything, the first thing that pops up, that's an AI search. And so if you're using any of those things, it is driving the exact same engines. So I totally agree. Like it's creating too much CO2. It is bad for the environment. So are iPhones. The Pro Max, the 16 Pro Max uses AI for every fucking thing. The ChatGPT, any AI creators on any of your social media platforms, they're all using those AI generator engines and they're all creating that CO2. So if you're going to stand against AI generating because it's bad for the environment, then I feel like that needs to be across the board. And so for me, it is across the board, but am I going to throw away my new iPhone and fucking never use ChatGPT? Maybe I will. You never know. I can get on some fucking tangents. Am I going to force them on you? No. But like, I get it. I get the damage to the environment. I get what everybody's talking about. So secondly, what it is AI actually collects data. That's what it does. And so it basically has a conglomeration of every fucking piece of art that's ever been created in the world. And it uses it to influence their creations. Like everybody's art in the whole world is thrown into this AI generator. They're getting different platforms that people can use to ensure that their art doesn't get, stolen out of an AI generator without permission and copyrights and stuff like that. So that's cool. I still stand on that. AI's coming. It's coming. And I still stand on that. AI art will never replace human artists. It won't. It can't. It's already having glitches, like glitches in the Matrix. It's glitching everywhere. AI is glitching everywhere. Oh my God, did you guys know that the person who wrote The Terminator also wrote The Matrix. And I watched this interview with her on Instagram the other day, and she said Neo is John Connor. And John Connor is the past and Neo is the future. And she wrote both the stories. And she said John Connor and Neo are Jesus Christ. That was like word for word what she said. Like, it's JC, Jesus Christ, and man against man. Oh, or man against, and it's about man against God's creation, which is man, and man's creation, which is machines. Crazy, right? What the fuck? I was like, what the fuck? Are you serious? The same author wrote The Matrix and The Terminator. And it's so funny because nowadays, kids, they don't even know the story of The Matrix or the fucking Terminator. It's fucking sad. Almost as sad as kids don't know who Pantera is anymore. Anyways, this is the look. I'm not that in love with it. I really feel like that color Lucid Shine kind of pulled it together. It did turn a little bit green. I feel like it's green on one side and pink on the other, so that pulled it together a little bit, but I'm just not in love with the mattes that I used. I'm gonna go finish the rest of my face and I'll be back when I'm done. So this is the manifesto, the pièce de résistance. I used those Salon Perfect eye wigs in Soft and Smoky. This is what the package looks like. They're super cheap. Go get them. They're at Walmart. And I used my Unearthly Lippy in Jeanette, my Goji blush in the Arthurine Blush Palette by Menagerie, which I haven't used in a really long time. My cream gel liner by ColourPop in Wildcat, and it's actually kind of a dingy gold, so it's like almost green but not quite, which I thought was super appropriate. I tried Mandy, but it was a little too green. You know, I remember Mandy being not quite that green. I wonder if the color has like changed. It was like, I felt like Mandy used to be like almost green and now it's like a straight up green. Maybe it's because my maybe my perception has changed. And then I used the Panorama mascara. What else? Oh, and then I used the Light in Your Eyes highlighter. And so I didn't get the whole collection because I didn't want the matte blush, but I did get the highlighter. And I didn't think I was going to enjoy it because like when you look in it, it's like several different colors like in bunches, but it actually looks like a party on my face and everybody's coming. So I was like, I'm actually going to wear this for New Year's Eve. This is probably my favorite thing. So, you know, I shouldn't have bought this palette. I knew it wasn't my color story. I knew, look at how it looks fun when it's on camera. It looks fun. It's those pinks. The pinks make it look fun, but it just didn't look that fun. Like when I'm looking at it, even in the lights, it's just not very much fun for me. So it was no fault on the palette's part. It just wasn't that much fun. And it poses the question to me, like, how good can a brand stay good when they're placating to the masses? Like, can a band stay good when they're placating to the masses? Like, when you stand for something and that's like what it is, and I'm not saying that this palette's like a sellout, you know what I mean? That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that like, if you continue to bend to every whim of every content creator, every person on Instagram who ain't doing shit, by the way. They're just sitting on the couch, like making comments when they're not being vulnerable. They're not getting in the arena. My girl, Brene Brown, one of my subscribers suggested a Brene Brown book to me. I'm all about Brene Brown. And she talks about in Daring Greatly, like, if you're not in the arena, your opinion doesn't fucking matter to me. If you're in the arena and you're fighting like a gladiator and you have some feedback, I want to hear it. But if you're just telling me I'm fat and you're like sitting on the couch and you ain't doing shit, you're not being vulnerable, you're not in the arena, then no comments from the peanut gallery, please. So it's like, So I'm not saying that that's what the brand has been doing, but I am saying all the palettes are getting really small. The color stories are, the color story of this new one, I'm really annoyed that I bought this palette. I'm just annoyed. I'm annoyed that I bought this palette and maybe made it so that I couldn't afford this new launch that happened so quickly. Like, I literally got this palette I got it a few days ago and I've been busy with Christmas, you know what I mean? And so it's like, I was late in the game on this. I mean, it's no fault. I do feel like it's a little, I don't know. I'm just annoyed that there's a launch the day after Christmas when I don't know about you, but I know for me, I can't buy anything because of Christmas. Christmas kind of wiped me out. Not necessarily, but I used all my extra budget to spend on Christmas. And so now I'm I probably didn't. I probably will end up having had enough money to buy this launch, but I can't risk it. So anyway, that's annoying to me. And also it's 2 small palettes instead of 1 big one, which makes it 2 collections like the Flutter and Flourish. So, is it smaller? Actually, it's bigger. In my wallet, anyway. So anyways, all that, I shouldn't have gotten this palette. It's not my color story. And I knew it the second I saw it, and I got it anyways, and I waited, and I didn't even get it till the restock. What I want to say about all this shit is that when I decided not to use Jeffree Star makeup, it was never about all of the things that people were saying on YouTube and people were saying on Instagram, and it was everybody canceling and I'm not buying Jeffree Star anymore. I did not stop buying Jeffree Star because I was influenced by that. And one of the things that Xander said in his stories is he said, we are influencers. We have a lot of influence on people. A lot of people don't have influence on me. A lot of times when people say something's good, I don't think it's good. That wasn't the case when I first got into makeup. But a lot of times when people say that something's good, I don't just think it's good. And a lot of times if some people say something's bad, if I like the color story, I'm going to try it myself because I'm not easily influenced. The reason why I ended up in the end quitting using Jeffree Star is because of this. A person in Montana texted Jeffree Star on Instagram and asked him not to open a Jeffree Star Cosmetics in Bozeman because he was looking at property in Montana. As we all know, since then he's gotten property in Wyoming. And he was going to open a Jeffree Star Cosmetics. And she texted him and asked him not to open a Jeffree Star Cosmetics in Bozeman because it would put all of the smaller businesses locally owned. Dude, I don't know how it is where you guys are, but in Montana, we are all about locally owned. She asked him not to open. Now, do I think that it was cool that she did that? No, I don't. So this heated discussion, he immediately messaged her back and said, immediately said, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Why don't you go back to your shitty life? Instantly. That was his initial response. And so as the conversation ensued, and it's so funny because I just found these, I was uploading all my stuff onto iCloud because I just switched to iPhone and everything. And I just actually came across these messages, and the one that made me stop buying Jeffree Star Cosmetics is, he says, I'm not sure how many times your dad fucked you, but don't take it out on me. That's what he said to her. So I feel like there's a huge difference between canceling Jeffree Star because of what at the time I thought was, I don't know. It just wasn't enough for me to cancel Jeffree Star. And quite frankly, I didn't cancel Jeffree Star. I just quit using his stuff on my channel because he said to that girl, I don't know how many times your dad fucked you, but don't take it out on me. That's what he said to her. That's what ultimately made my decision. I didn't just jump on, I'm not an easy sell. I don't just jump on every fucking bandwagon. I won't be rallied. I'm not into witch hunts. That's not my thing. But when I read that, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to buy Jeffree Star anymore. I've talked about it here and there on my channel. I've also very much advocated for Jeffree Star as a person in light of how much trauma that person must have had to endure being Jeffree Star. So I don't know. I don't know how much trauma he has from what he's had to endure. But when he says, I don't know how many times your dad fucked you to somebody, then I'm not going to buy that. I'm not going to buy Jeffree Star Cosmetics anymore. I would just say to you, don't be influenced. Like, do what you want. And like, when issues like this come up, it's an amazing opportunity for all of us, Democrats and Republicans, even people who are homophobic, even people who are transphobic. Like, is this an opportunity for us to like look at where that's coming from? Because honestly, the truth is we're fighting to change those kinds of phobias. We're trying to change, that kind of stereotyping and judgment. And like, those are the people that we want. Those are the people that I want to talk to. Somebody said in my comments on my last video, most of us don't just watch your channel just for makeup. Well, I'm not trying to just show you guys makeup. I'm trying to change the fucking world, right? I'm just taking a back door. Makeup is just my avenue, you know what I mean? How do we do that? We get to the heart of the people that... I'm not trying to fucking talk to people who already fucking accept people with, like, people in the LGBTQIA community with open arms. They don't need anything. They're already there. If we want to change things, we need to get to the people who aren't already there. And who are they? Those are people who are homophobic. Those are people who are transphobic. And so I believe that there's also a big difference between hate and fear. And so like, if you want to hate, but I see a lot of hate coming from everywhere. Hate is coming from everywhere. And so hate is like, that's one thing, but like fear might look like hate, but it's just fear. So anyways, these are just some ideas that have been rolling through my head. Like, I'm not saying I don't fucking support people who are homophobic or transphobic, but like, how can we change it? The world is about to go through some like crazy changes. Like everything's about to change. And I'm not talking about Trump coming into office and taxing everything that comes from China. I'm talking about huge cosmic shifts in the way humanity lives, prioritizes, has emotion, connects with each other. And so like, how do we like help each other and usher each other into this essentially a new world? It's coming. And so like, what can we do to band together instead of like being divisive? I don't want to be divisive. I want people to band together. And so we don't have to be the same to band together. We don't. In fact, I don't like to build a team out of you don't want a fucking 12 point guards, right? You want people who have all different like qualities and strengths. So anyways, this is pretty heavy. I don't know if the reason why I didn't really care for this palette as much is because it's like, just like dealing, like the thought load of it has been such a boner killer. But like, I knew when I first saw this palette that it wasn't for me. It's too much of the things that aren't really my favorite things. So the palette's good. It performed good. I am not going to do any more bruisey purple to green Beetlejuice looks for a while. I'm not. If I think I want to do it, actually, it looks really pretty though. It looks really pretty actually. And this fucking highlighter is the New Year's Eve highlighter. This is New Year's Eve 2024 going into 2025. It's the light in your eyes. It's going to be the light on your face. So anyways, that's all there is. There is no more. Also, please be kind in the comments to each other. Let's be kind. I love you guys so much. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell because you can't wait to see what happens next. Hit the like button if you like this look, or if you just like my sparkling personality, my boy charm, and hang out with me in the comments because I fucking love it. If you got like halfway through this video and you were like, oh my god, she is so pretty till she opens her big fucking mouth, then go check me out on Instagram. I don't talk as much on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for watching. You could have been anywhere, but you were here wasting your time with me, and I totally appreciate you. Later. Slayer.